Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we are finally here to talk about the latest episode of TheOwlHouse, because I know when it's coming back now, so I will make sure I get this up before.
They announced it today, actually, so I was like, oh, yay!
Weird timing. So now that I know when it's coming back, this will be out before then. We're going to be talking about Thanks to Them today, though, even though it's been like a month and a half, 2 months, who knows how long it's actually been.
It doesn't matter. Life happens.
Life happens.
We had to process the trauma of losing Flapjack.
Too soon still. Oh no.
Had to process that. So it's fine.
But we are finally here to talk about it because we've had that time to process, all the extreme emotions and everything in between. And I'm excited to finally talk about it because I have not been talked about it like at all on the internet because of what I've been going through. So yeah, I have a lot of thoughts to get out today. And again, as always, I have Hope with me. Thank you for joining me again today, Hope.
I'm so happy to be here. I mean, I know it's not the right show, but similar creators. I got my Jackamelon up back here. I know it's not the right season, but I was like, you know what? Owl House is close enough to Gravity Falls. I'm gonna whip out the Jackamelon.
Yeah, I've got my Amity shirt. Yay.
Hey, I'm wearing Star Wars. I'm in the wrong fandom right now, so it's fine.
Oh well. To kick off our discussion today, what are your more general thoughts about the episode, Hope?
I do want to say this at the top because I do have some criticisms here and there of the episode, but the reason I want to say this at the top is I think they did the absolute best they could with the time given to them. Going from 22 episodes to essentially 6 episodes for a season to cram in the end of the series, I think they did the absolute best they could. So just when I say a criticism, take it with a grain of salt, because the criticism is this would be good if we had more time. Exactly. Kind of deal. So, and I'm more mad at Disney for shafting us for a full season versus the actual creators and what's been presented, because this special was amazing. The opening montage was gorgeous. I love all the animation, the fight scenes, the characters were really great. Camilla is a superstar and I love her, and I'm so happy she's finally getting justice. It was just a testament to the cast and crew doing the best they could, and it really was some of the best Owl House we've had so far.
Yes, I definitely agree. I really did love, and I tried to focus on this as I was watching too, I very much been of that mindset of appreciate what we're getting, even though it's so little. There's a space I feel to get mad at Disney and everything, but then there's the space to just enjoy it and take in what we get. And I really tried to focus on that the night I watched it. I'm like, we're not going to think about what could have been. I don't want to think about the what ifs right now. I just want to watch it and enjoy it for what it is. And I think that really did help my processing of it in a way.
I would be so down for a tell-all book where it's here was all the plans that got cut.
Yeah.
I would read the heck out of that book. I want it, please. Yeah, because all my biggest criticisms was this plot point needed more time.
Exactly.
Because when it comes to what happened with Hunter and resolving that with Belos and stuff like that, it was really fast. I would have to assume that if this got a full 22-minute season, it would be kind of shaped like Amphibious season 3, where you would have several episodes on Earth and then the rest would be on the Boiling Isles, which they just didn't have time to do, so they had to. That's why we had a montage to really cover that space. But I feel we would see that space, like Willow and Amity, they're friends and everything's fine. I feel that would be something that we would see over several episodes of them still figuring that out. And it's just with the what ifs, but that's what I would like to assume. But honestly, that's what fan fiction's for, man.
Exactly. God bless fan fiction.
Yeah.
I was editing our season 2 thing right before the episode dropped. I think I dropped that a few days before it came out.
Yeah, it was something like that, yeah.
I think that's why I really was so invested, because so much of what we're going to discuss today and what they touched on in this episode was connecting so well into what we were discussing in our season 2 thing, especially the stuff with Luz and Camilla. I was oh my god, it's
oh yeah,
we talked about I just was really getting into it for that, where I was oh my god, they're really digging into all this Camilla stuff that Hope and I were talking about. And it's even I'd even talked about in the season 2 thing, here's how I think they will do it if they do montage or do this and do that. And I just remember as I was watching, I was oh yeah, there's that and there's that and there's
that. Good. Well, storytelling.
Yeah, Gotta love building out storytelling, yes. Let's get deeper into talking about the episode itself. What were some of your favorite moments from this episode, Hope?
I absolutely love the opening montage.
Yes.
It was I've watched it so many times, and there's so many little things in there. Like I was like, I could write an entire essay about this. I think I wrote that in my like GQ Waffle review. I was like, I could write like a 10-page essay just on the opening. How Luz comes out to her mom. It is like one of the biggest groundbreaking historic moments in freaking animation. And like as we're going towards this like norm of like having queer content so openly in animation, like that's just another big milestone to have the words "Hi, I'm bi" with bi flags and rainbows and like Gus running through the kitchen, and then having like later on their name is Masha.
Yes.
Yeah, having Masha like having their nameplate and it says Masha, they, them, and I'm like, this little stuff means so much to so many people. Like I'm 35. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Like my gay representation was Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune being cousins in Sailor Moon because it was censored. And it's like just to know that this like next generation of kids is going to be able to grow up with stuff like this. And it's so well written. Like Luz and Amity are just such beautifully written characters, and it's not like a PSA of just like, and now we're going to talk about why everyone's equal. Like it's not a PSA. Like they're fleshed out characters, and they have storylines outside of each other and with each other. Like they're just so well done. And the opening montage, I just really emphasize that, especially because like Camilla wears the pen for the rest of the episode, like the rainbow pen, and she has the books in her room about like how to be a parent of to a queer child. Like that's just gonna help so many people. And to like to see Camilla like so openly embrace her child and in her girlfriend, and like to accept them, like it's just, that's gonna do worlds of good for so many people. And then just all the other like little things, like the moment. Like I love, I ship Hunter and Willow so hard. Like I am feral shipping them. And like her cutting his hair, like seeing V's new look, like there's just so many little things in that opening montage, and from like the rain to everything, like it's just, and it's all foreshadowing too, like Hunter falls in the mud, and it's foreshadowing like the goo, and like there's a lot of foreshadowing in it as well, and it's just, it's so great. And that was probably one of my top favorite moments of the episode. But there's just so many little things. Like I love how they handle Philip and Caleb's backstory with the puppets and like the hair eye, because whenever we got the Philip journal entries, they look like the shadow puppets from like, I think it's Russian theater that they use. And it's very similar to the style that we had always seen the Philip flashbacks whenever Luz read his journal. And so I like that they kept that continuity there. And just to find out about Caleb, and we're pretty sure that Evelyn's a Clawthorn, right? Like it's all but confirmed, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like there's no way else around that. That makes everything just like make more sense, because it makes sense why Belos wanted to cut down all the palistrom trees, because they're connected to the Clawthorns that took his brother, and like why he hates specifically Evelyn and wanted to get Ida. I love those scenes, but there's just so many little things. Like you have listed a few of my other favorites as well. And I just gotta say that giraffe joke was worth the wait.
Oh my god, yes.
I wish they hadn't put it in the trailer though.
Exactly.
That's my only thing. I wish they hadn't put it in the trailer. I would have loved to not known that. Oh, hello. My ghost is awake. Hi, honey. Come here, sweet girl. My kitty was sleeping and I didn't want to wake her up, everybody. She is my little ghost.
Oh my god.
She's my 18-year-old old lady. Like there's so many little things that I loved in this episode that I couldn't list them all. So and you have some of my other favorites. So I'm gonna like hot potato it over to you. What were some of your favorite moments?
A lot about the montage. So that is definitely one of my favorites. For very similar reasons, like from the representation to the ways they were able to build out what could have been multiple episodes. Like they were able to show like the kids exploring this new world on top of the kind of two main struggles with like Luz and the burden of everything, and then Hunter with the identity and discovery stuff. Like they started to build out those things even this in this like little montage timing, and then getting just to see like those cute little bonding moments, and then also just like the integration, like all the ways they kind of integrated what could have like been like so in depth and expanded if we had gone a full season. Like they did the montage, and they also had like the scrapbook, and they also did another one of my like favorite moments is like the video diaries. Like I legit did this as a kid. Like I had like this home computer, and I literally go on like photo booth and record like little video diaries, and I like lost it when that part came on. I'm like, oh my god, she's literally me. But like that was just like so cute to like, again, touching on like the Luz and Camilla story. That was like a little like more quick and condensed way to do that. Even like Camilla's dream, which we'll get into, was another way of like getting into that more. Like just they found these like ways to tie in these things that could have been one or multiple episodes into like this nice little bow that because we had to have such a short episode, they managed to put it into like this little neat package. And I really appreciate those moments for like how powerful they still felt, despite the fact that they could have been like multi-episode kind of exploration things.
I do want to add one I forgot to list. As someone who does use Duolingo,
oh my god.
Because I am very slowly trying to learn Spanish. As someone who does use Duolingo, that was the dang funniest joke of like the Scary Owl app. Because seriously, Duolingo will send you notifications, and it's like, you haven't practiced today, and Duo is sad. I'm like, it's not my job to help Duo with his happiness. Like, what are you doing? But I also just like loved that they embraced that kind of fandom thing, because the whole like Duo and Hootie thing, like starting off as a rivalry, and then they became friends. Like that's just like one of the little fandom things I'm gonna completely just miss once the show's over. Because like there was stuff like that with Gravity Falls too, and like just like those like little things, or with Amphibia, where like the day that like everybody was like, what if everybody was slugs, and like all the slug fan art came up. Like those are the fun fandom things I'm like really gonna miss.
Oh, I miss it all. Oh, I miss the Amphibia airing days. What a time in our lives.
Oh god, I miss him. I'm slowly possibly working on like a big Amphibia piece to write about, and it's just kind of bringing up all these feelings and emotions inside of me. I'm just like, oh god, I miss this show.
The love persists. Like, for example, I literally have like all these Amphibia charms in my backpack. I get like so many compliments from college kids. Like, I'm like, we love to see it. Thank you. Like, yes.
Yeah. Like I was debating whether or not to like watch like Little Froggy Christmas this year. Like,
oh my god, yes.
I'm probably gonna watch it, but I was like, oh, I kind of want to watch Little Froggy Christmas this December. Let's go, even though it's 74 freaking degrees outside. My windows are open in December because it's so dang hot.
Not here, not where I am. It's like 40 degrees.
But,
And then like another thing, I just obviously have to call this out because like everyone's gonna say this, but like the fight scene, just like animation wise and just in like general, like, oh yes, it's so good. It's so good.
If that is a preview of what the next two episodes are bringing to us, holy cow.
Yes.
Like I have like no thoughts about like the next one, because it's bonkers crazy, but like I can only imagine like what a final battle is going to look like.
Let's get more into like the character focused stuff that we do each time. So first, poor Luz. Oh my god.
This is a rough episode for Luz. I like how they use and her best trait against her. Like her eagerness to help is her best and worst trait, but that is also the conflict of how she got to this point. And God, she was so much of a shell of herself in this episode, and I mean that in a nice way. Like because like she's going through a lot. Like I mean that in a very nice way. And so it was really interesting to see this like muted version of Luz that we haven't really seen before.
Yeah, it really made it hit, because like kind of what you were just saying, we literally were like talking about that last time about like her desire to help people, the burden she takes on, and all of that. And then to just really see, because we kept saying throughout like the thing last time, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so hard to see her in this episode because she's gonna be like so destroyed. She really was like,
and
oh my god.
That's why I really actually like the video diary scene, because like she's so muted for and beaten down for like the entirety of the episode, and then we get the video diary and she's just like, look at me, episode 1, Liz, isn't that great? And it was like just a nice comparison to like what we're used to versus where she is now as a character. I was legit scared for her, like when she's in that school scene and she's just like, the hero should have never existed. Do I need to call someone? Like, I'm a little scared for you right now that you're gonna unalive yourself. Like, please stop with that road of thought. Like that was actually a very scary moment, because we've never had Luz in that position, and I don't think like that was like their intention to be like, Luz is gonna unalive herself. I don't think that at all, but it was still a very shocking moment to come out of her mouth.
Yeah, to really like go to that deep level of, it's like, it's not just, oh, all these people could hate them and they did all these things, but like, it's like they literally, if they didn't exist, nothing bad would happen. Like, she's like, everywhere like he went, he like pain followed. Like she views herself not only as someone who like made mistakes or feels responsible for where people are, but she literally thinks like everywhere she goes, like people are dealing with pain and dealing with unfortunate situations, when in reality Ida and Amity and all these people keep telling her how much she's helped them. She still takes on like anything that goes wrong as a sign that she causes pain, or even if like she's helping them and like things are happening to them, I feel like she still like finds a way to twist it somehow, where it's so sad. And like she gets so caught up in this need to like, because I'm very much the same way, and I'm sure I talked about it last time, and I've definitely gone through it a lot in the last year and a half, where like you do all these like thing, you just want to do good and help people and be there for people and give all yourself to people, like, when literally Belos is like you did this thing, she's like, I just thought I was doing something good. Like she just wants to like help and do good things. It's never her intention to like hurt people or like cause pain or do bad things, because that's just helping is her thing. But like, as you talked about like last time, her journey is then like discovering that like sometimes that doesn't always lead to the best results, or like not everyone can be trusted and all that like extra burden, but she takes it on like again to such an extreme degree, which is just so sad. And I really hope that she continues to see that she's valued. Like all these people in her life are trying to make her feel valued. Like, oh my god.
Well, I feel like you can't talk about Luz in this episode without Hunter, because they are very much like two sides of the same coin going through the exact same thing, because they're both victims of Belos in different ways. And of course we'll talk more about Hunter later, but like it's Hunter that the one that goes, Luz, you're a victim and that's okay. Like he hurt us, he hurt you, like he hurt all of us, and it is his fault that this is happening. And that's where it gets really into a very interesting conversation. Like when she's in school, the words on behind her teacher on the chalkboard are fate versus free will, which are both Luz and Hunter's story, because they are breaking the chains of fate, because there's all the time traveling and stuff like that. So there is a feeling of fate among the story. But what's so interesting about this now is Hunter is broken off away from Belos, and Luz is really taking on her own role of like, I'm going to be Lazura, like this is my witch's hat, like I'm going to become the witch I'm supposed to be. So everything from here on out is their free will. Any choice is not determined by time magic. It's not going to be determined by fate. It's none of that. It's because they're making the decisions of their own and they are coming together to do these things. I think that's a very poignant thing to have, the fate versus free will, because that's essentially what Luz's story has come down to. She feels like it's fated that this has happened, and that's not true. Everything she's done was her own free will, and it was manipulated by a horrible person who ended up hurting her and making her a victim. And now she's overcoming it, which will probably be like the next two things.
Yeah, exactly. Like again, I do think like talking about them in like together works really well in that sense, because like Hunter, even when he's like doing all these things, being happy or exploring more, that like that line really caught me again today, when he's like, even if I'm not who I'm supposed to be right now, I like who I am. Where like, even though he's like, I like who I am, but I'm still not who I'm supposed to be. Like he's dealing with that like identity where he's like still burdening himself with this whole like, I'm still not who I'm supposed to be, even if I am this person. And then he, again, like you said, goes on that like journey where it's like, in the end, he asserts like, no, I'm not this. This is who I am. This is my life, and this is where I'm going with it. Like to Belos, like really taking on his power. And then, like you said, like with Luz in the Hat, that's like her way of asserting like, I'm going to continue to help people and the good witches are like, try to keep doing good, like we're gonna make mistakes, but I have these people who stand by me and love me, and I'm gonna keep trying to do my best with that. Like, yeah, it really gets you in the feels, like that these poor children were just like so twisted by this person, and they have to like work through that. It's, oh my god, it's a lot. Yeah.
And I love the reveal that the Azura books came from her dad.
Yes. Yeah.
That was such a beautiful reveal. And that was just such a poignant moment of just being like, her dad got her the books. Oh my god.
Yeah, and it makes that moment when like Ida's about to burn it that much more devastating.
Right.
It's just like, oh, I want my book. It's like, that's like the last thing of my dad. Do not burn that. Like, oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say about Luz, but it also goes in with Camilla and Belos as well, actually. And I'm gonna just say, like, I did not come up with this. I want to give credit where credit's due. This was from, I believe his name is Kevin at the Round Table. And he talked about this in his video, like going over this episode. And he was talking about the dangers of conformity. And he really detailed, and the reason I'm saying he, because like I said, it's his idea first. And so please go check it out because it's a really great video. He was talking about the dangers of conformity because we see how it affects multiple characters throughout the series. And so when it comes to someone like Belos versus Caleb we found out is the older brother. So like he had more experience, more of a worldview. So Philip was more impressionable when he was younger. He was able to take on the more radicalized way of life of the witch hunters, and it was impressed upon him because he wanted to conform. As orphans, they didn't have a home and they wanted this home, so to conform meant having a home for Philip, and so he took on this witch hunter view. For Camilla, like, one of the things I love about her story is how the kids end up bringing out the real her. You know, she has all her nerd stuff. And like, yeah, a lot of it is Manny's, but her name's on a lot of those boxes as well. That is her stuff that she has hidden away in a closet. And it's not just hiding away the nerd stuff, it's also hiding away her grief around Manny and losing him, because that was something that she shared with him. And so when you have that scene with her flashback and the principal is like, your daughter's not normal, like she gives into that conformity because she's grieving, and all she wants is to have the best life for her daughter. And then it goes to Luz. Like, the entire reason Luz went to the Boiling Isle was because she wasn't conforming at school. She didn't have friends, and she wanted to go to this magical world where she could thrive and like meet people, and she did. But now she's seeing it almost like weaponized against her because of everything that Belos did to her. So she's trying to conform back to the human world because she thinks that's the better route for her friends to protect them, and that's not the right choice. And so I love this ongoing theme about the dangers of conformity, like whether it's like a religious conformity or societal conformity. It is good to have friends and to have these groups and stuff like that, but there's also a real danger to it, because you can be radicalized in the wrong way like Philip was, or you can make the not right choice for your child like Camilla did. And I think that's why Luz's story going into the last two specials is going to be so important, because she's going to show how in some ways she did conform to a life in the Boiling Isles, but she did her own path and she made it her own, and it's going to reflect and make her a stronger person in the human realm, because she doesn't really fully give in to one way or the other, because she makes it her own. Yeah, absolutely. Go check out the Round Table video, because like he breaks it down like point by point as it comes up through the episode. So like I just wanted to note it because it was one of the major themes of the episode.
I especially like that specific point about how she's like trying to like reconform to the human realm, especially in her like path of being like, I think it's best that I stay here in that way. Like, I think that's so interesting in the sense of not only like that whole idea of what is the safe space anymore, but also like, again, tying back to like that whole like hero's journey kind of thing, like or her view of it, where she's causing pain. She thinks maybe I won't cause anyone pain, or it's just better to play the safe card and the safe option, because she talks about in the video diary, she's like, I just wanted to be good at something, and I thought I could be, finally found a place I could be good at something, but I kept messing up, I kept hurting people. So it's kind of like she falls back into like, I can't be good at something, so why step out and take that risk? Like I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But like
no, yeah, I get it.
The sense where she kind of like, she falls more into this place of, if I just step back, like it's kind of like taking back, which is why that moment like of taking the hat and putting it on the end is like powerful. It's because like she's kind of like saying, I can't be this role, I can't be what this like story is like trying to define me as, because I see myself as like the villain in the Azura movie now. Like I see myself as the one that no one's going to forgive and everyone's just going to hate and see as the problem. So I'd rather just step back now and not risk that than to face it head on and face the reality. And unfortunately, Belos takes that away from her completely by just like exposing her. But like in the end, that ends up being the good thing, because then she's able to actually have a good communication conversation with everyone about it, rather than just being like, I'm just going to step back completely and not address it whatsoever, which would not have been for the best. Yeah. Any other thoughts about Luz?
Very excited to see how she becomes her own version of Lazura, becomes like who she is in the last 2 episodes. I'm really excited for baby girl to be back to her, like,
oh yeah, please.
to see her bounce back. I was about to see her to be back to her normal self, but that's not true, because a big part of this is her transforming into somebody new, because she's figuring out who she wants to be, and so she's not going to be her episode. If she goes back to being her episode 1 self, the show failed. So,
No,
yeah, she's
no,
going to become somebody else.
I think that's a part of life that I've had to come to terms with a lot lately. I've dealt with that lately, where I felt like kind of like, oh, am I just the old version of myself? And like I feel like I've just traveled back in time to like 10 months ago. And I keep having to remind myself lately, like, no, I'm not just the old version of myself. I'm still the future and the present version of myself, because everything that's happened to me in the last 10 months, it doesn't no longer matter. It's just a part of my life and something I've learned and grown from. And like Luce is the same way. Like she's not gonna just go bounce back to like before she came to the Isles. This is still like a part of her experience, and even if it's not going to make her depressed all the time, which please no, it shouldn't, like it's still like her experience and she's grown from it. So
yeah, like part of life is you're going to go through several iterations of yourself. Like I am not who I was when I was a teenager. I'm not who I was when I was in my 20s, and I'm not going to be who I am now when I'm in my 40s, 50s, and 60s. I'm 35 right now. But that doesn't make those teenagers any less part of me, because it's still a stone in my foundation that made up who I am now, even if I'm not that person anymore. Can we talk about Camilla?
Yeah, awesome. All the validation for Camilla that Hope has been craving happens.
Everything. I felt so freaking validated. So freaking validated. Everybody was just like, Camilla's the bad mom. And I was like, first of all, shut your mouth. She's awesome. She's doing the best she can. I'd like to see you have a mortgage and pay bills and put food on the table for a single child all by yourself without a partner. That stuff's expensive. Like to see you do it, 13-year-old person on Twitter.
Whoa.
I loved it. And especially because part of her story is so much tied into yesterday's lie, because like I know there's a lot of like Camilla like with yesterday's life, and especially like I love how this episode like recontextualized the first episode as well in Grom 2, and so giving us just some of Camilla's backstory did so much, because honestly she is grieving. She is still grieving actively, to the point of trying to keep this tiny human child alive, and while losing her husband. And grief causes fear. You know, there's a real fear in yesterday's lie, because she found out that this kid that she's been living with is not actually her kid, it's a demon, and her kid is in another realm, and she can only see her kid as a ghost in a light. And like she has lost her husband, and so when she begs Luce to like stay in the human realm and come home, that's a fear reaction caused by grief. She's already lost her husband. She doesn't want to lose her child. And so I really love so much of Camilla in this episode, because we look back at those other episodes and we see that she was reacting from fear and grieving. But what this special did what things to them did so well was it was bringing out Camilla's life. as I was saying, like these kids, like Hunter and Gus gets all up in her like Star Trek stuff, and it's pulling out those parts of her life again. And like she and there like the context that she was bullied, which goes back to that like idea of conformity, you know, she gets really nervous when she finds out that the boys got into that, because it was a part of herself that we have to assume. We're both nerds, we've both been
Yeah.
bullied for nerd stuff, like it sucks, but I don't care, screw those people. I like what I like. But like, you know, like we see her trying to break away from that conformity and stuff like that, but she's also healing, and she realized that she was imparting onto Luz the wrong lesson, because when she told Luz, stay behind the human realm, promise me you will, that was a fear reaction. But when she sees that Luz is actually going to do it in the video diary, she realizes she did the wrong thing, because she's had time with these kids. She spent so many months. I don't know how many months have passed. Months with all these kids. She's learned to love them. She sees them as her own. She's taking care of them, and she realizes, no, the demon realm is not as scary as I thought it was. These kids are lovely. I need to help them get back. I told Luz the wrong lesson in yesterday's lie, which is why I'm going to fix it here so she can go, and I'm going to help her. I love that when she has that scene in the bed with like when she's holding like Luz in her bed, and she's like, you know, you got to learn from your mistakes and you grow, and it's okay to make mistakes and stuff like that. That was the video diary scene for me, because she realized she put the wrong lesson on Luz, and now she's going to help Luz learn the right direction, the right thing. I love Camilla. I do. Like she was so validated, just like little things, like she does not hesitate to jump in the water after Hunter. She just throws her own life in there because she's going to save that child.
Yeah.
Like she is a mom, and I love that about her. And I can't wait for Camilla and Ida to meet. Like that is the number one thing I want from the next special, is I want Ida and Camilla to meet. Like I want it so bad. Like that's like, I'm like, yeah, sure, the Collector blew up everybody else, but keep Ida around so she can meet Camilla. Like it's fine. Like, you know, like the Collector has made like turn everything into Epcot. I don't care. They're gonna meet over there. Let's go to Galaxy's Edge, I guess. Like I don't care. Yeah, Camilla was just the best, and I will fight everyone on Twitter for her, because they need to stop. Like they cannot slander that woman anymore, and she's so, yeah. Anyway, you talk now.
All good. All good. I agree. It was like very validating, especially validating for me in the opposite kind of way, because I was one of those people. I never hated Camilla. I never thought she was like the worst mom ever, but I was one of those people, kind of similar to like when people do it with Alador or like other characters in the show, where I'm like, okay, yeah, Alador is not as bad a parent, but let's still be critical of him. Like I always was kind of similar with Camilla, where I'm like, before this episode came out, where I was like, great mom stuff here, but let's be like critical of this stuff. So it was nice to like finally see an episode that really like dove into her backstory. It gave a ton more context to her decisions, and really helped me fully love her now. Like I still kind of like wanted to go back and like delete my today's love review, because I was like, I feel like it was too harsh on her in that review. Now it's on the internet forever. It was just so nice to like learn more about this, and I know this is like kind of like it's a natural part of like character progression. Like it's something that not only carries over in this show but in other shows, but like this show especially, I feel like there's like a good list of characters now where at least a decent part of the fandom started out hating or disliking strongly, that are now loved because of the exploration of their past, their backstories, their decision making, like what triggers them and everything. And like there's a good solid list of those characters now, because this show does such a good job. Exactly, Lilith. Yeah, Lilith, like, even Amity in a way, like Alador, like I don't know, like there's all kinds of characters.
But I hope Odalia's not redeemed. I want to keep on hating that lady.
Yeah, there are some characters that will always be hated, yes, but like the characters that like have started out being like fully hated, who have like we've grown and seen more from, and getting these like flashbacks with, like it's just so nice to see that and get to like learn what like triggered a lot of their decisions. And like for Camilla especially, like just to really get that like really that one part just hit like so much, where it's like, you were bullied in school, like you don't want Luz to struggle like you did, like to really put that pressure on her, where it's not just like this could help her, but like this could help her not have to struggle like you did. And that's like, I feel like that could be an easy pressure to fall under. I'm sure if someone said that to me when I'm an adult, I might make some stupid decisions too, even after seeing the show. Like, you don't want your kids to struggle. Like,
it's so important to also just continue to say she's grieving. Grief makes people do really stupid things.
Yeah.
Like, and it just is how it is. Like, people are not thinking clearly when they're grieving. From what I've gathered, like, Manny hasn't been gone that long before this episode. Like, maybe 2 years tops. 2 years tops, maybe
something. Yeah, not too long. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it kind of conflicts a little bit with reaching out, but I don't mind it because
oh well.
That's gonna happen in a TV show. Like, so I still think this is a very hard struggle for her, especially because like all the coupons and her bed says so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you're actively couponing that much to feed that many children, like, and you're working as a vet techs don't make that much money. and maybe that's why, like, I always felt more for her. Like, you know, I'm closer to like Camilla, Ida, Lilith in age than I am to Luce.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the opposite for you. You're closer to Luce than you probably are to them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I just love seeing that dream where she's just, they show so much of her being not only her being supportive of Luz, but how she's been like criticized as a mom, and like just the fact that like she's dealing with grief. She's also being like, she's even before Manny passed, but also after Manny passed, being criticized as like a mother figure. Like, just so much on her shoulders in terms of her and her future and her child's future. Like you said, we're gonna make some mistakes. We're gonna make some decisions that we might think are best in the moment, but then, like you talked about, we can learn and grow that they weren't the best decisions. And that I love that it's not only that she tells Luz, like she's reassuring Luz, but she's literally gonna go with Luz now. She's like, I'm gonna jump head first into this with you. Not only just saying you can do it, but like, I'm gonna go with you and support you through it, which, like, I love it. I love it so much.
I love that line of like, hey, wolves are very good parents.
Yes.
Wolves are good parents. And she is a wolf. And also, like, just speaking of wolves, just Hunter just being like, I discovered a wolf and I love them. And I'm like, Hunter, so sweetie, I love you. Yeah. He's the bestest boy, and I'm gonna miss that bestest boy. But yeah, I could talk for a long time about Camilla, because she is just, it's just so much validation, and I'm just so happy all the work they did with her, because they just it was needed.
That's the good thing about seeing these kinds of things in these shows, and having those younger audience members who are growing and learning to love Camilla, and like seeing where she's coming from, because then they can better understand maybe their parents or other people. It's like, yeah,
that just reminded me of the other thing I was trying to remember to say. Like, I think Camilla is going to be a good character, and in Ida and Lilith and Alder and all them, like, those are going to be characters that when the younger fans get older, they're gonna relate more to. And I like shows like that. Like, I feel a lot like that, like with like Stan and Stanford, like from Gravity Falls. Like, you know, the older I get, the more I'm just like, yeah, I get Stan way more. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, wow, why does everything hurt? All right, let's go.
Oh no.
Like, I'm reaching that level, and I'm like, yeah, I totally get Stan more than I get like anybody else in the show.
Oh gosh.
Totally get into that. So yeah. I want to talk about my baby boy.
Oh my gosh, you read a lot. Go.
No. What I did was I took this from my review. So about Hunter. I'm sorry, Amity. For all up to this point, I've said that you're the best written character of the show, and I'm so sorry Hunter has dethroned you. He has. And I'll come back to that in a minute. I love Hunter. Like, he is, I see why this is Dana's favorite character. Like, he is just so well written and precious, and Zena Robinson just like sells Hunter. Like, he's so good at voicing this character and puts so much emotion into it. I really resonate with this character. I love him, and just to see him overcoming, and he's becomes like such an integral part. It's crazy to think that he wasn't even in season 1. They've done so much with him. He is the king of economic writing. I brought this up before when we were talking about Amphibia and before TheOwlHouse and everything. What I mean by that is there's not a single wasted word or dialogue or frame with Hunter because they had to move so quickly. I like pulled it up and he's only in something like 8 episodes in like season 2 and now this, compared to like all the other characters, like they don't waste a single second when he's on the screen. And it continues here with him finally like turning around and standing up to Belos. And again, it's if this was a longer season, they would be like ramping that up slowly and like showing him growing and struggling and stuff like that with the whole Belos Caleb thing. I think they did the best they could with that was given to him, and they've done so much with this character. Hunter's story, and thanks to them, is powerful. It's absolutely a narrative about standing up to your abuser. I know I saw on Twitter some fans were upset about Hunter being possessed and experiencing his trauma again, but that's the point of fiction. It allows us a safe space to explore these kind of stories and feelings with the barrier of television to think critically and process our own emotions. That's why fiction is so important, because it's cathartic. Belos will always be part of Hunter. Victims of abuse will carry that trauma with them. It's only recently that Hunter has been happy, as Gus pointed out. Belos isolated him, manipulated him, and controlled his life to the point where when he broke free, Hunter didn't know who he was anymore. So much of Hunter's narrative is about deciding who he wants to be. Mentally and emotionally, this is a story about self-love. Despite everything put on him, Hunter is not Caleb, and he is not Belos. He is Hunter. So much of season 2 is about Hunter learning his own likes and dislikes. Being away from the demon realm, that becomes even more apparent as he experiences the human realm. He's in no rush to get back because he's finally free to make his own choices. By being on this journey, Hunter has grown to finally accept who he is. He has a place he belongs now. He will never be fully healed from his trauma, but he has grown as a person. Hunter will never be magically better. He will always have this trauma be part of him. Now, though, he can move forward and be stronger from it with people who love and support him. He does not have to conform to Belos' ways anymore. He can start his new life for himself. Hunter's is a story of self-love. Like, he's a victim of abuse, and it's really difficult to overcome something like that. The thing about abuse is it's always going to be part of you. And it's not easy. You're not going to, there's no magical better. You're never going to be 100% because it's like we were saying with Luz, we're not who we were 10 years ago. We're different people now, but those are still stones in our foundation. And the stones might be hidden way more because he has this life, but it's going to be something that Hunter will always live with. That's why it's important to explore this stuff like in the realm of fiction, because fiction is not real life. And it gives us a safe space to go through these kind of stories, to process it. That is the whole point of fiction and media, is to give us that safe space to help us kind of look at it from somebody else's point of view, to go through our own feelings and emotions when it comes to stuff like that. And what I love most about Hunter's story is it is a story of self-love. It is him realizing that he's not Caleb, he's not Belos, he is Hunter. And he's had to figure out who that is. And he's just now starting to figure it out. And he has the rest of his life to figure out who Hunter is. And Hunter's going to change. You know, when he's in his 40s, he's not going to be the same Hunter now. And he's going to be married with Willow, and they're going to have like beautiful babies and husbands. It's going to be great. And in a kick-ass garden, it's going to be awesome. Like, he's going to be a completely different person. But I love that about story, that about Hunter's story, is that his entire story is about learning to love himself. So.
Yeah. Yes, I agree a lot. I
love this baby boy.
I loved getting to see him embrace more of his like awkward, goofy, nerdy side in this episode so much. Especially because like we'd seen him nerd out a little bit in season 2, and we'd seen some of the signs of his more like goofy side, but like he was still so shrouded in all the Golden Guard stuff in last season. So it was so nice to see him come out of his shell even more in this episode, from like the cosmic frontier stuff to like the wolves and everything, and also just like, him, like fully going into that love of like sewing and like working on clothes, because like we saw that as something like all these like little things that were like so like they were like little nuggets, like the nerdy stuff with like glyphs and stuff, like all of that stuff was like there kind of in season 2, but he really gets to like full force go explore it now. Like with
and they're
sewing and the other stuff, like just like getting to see him like fully embrace that was so cool. And also just to see like him talking with Gus and Gus being like, I see you, you're happy, like fully recognizing it to Hunter, like you're happy, man, like it's so cool to see you like embracing all these things and being happy and getting to live that. And then but also at the same time Gus still helps him work through the hard stuff still too. Like Gus is a big part of like that like brotherly best friend kind of figure, like helping him through that journey, which I loved Gus for that in this episode.
Can we go ahead and talk about Gus? Because honestly, his story was tied up with Hunters.
Yes,
like he doesn't really have a story outside of Hunters, which again, I hate to be so critical of that. Like it's just the side effect of the shortened season. You know, like we probably have a lot more like. Can you imagine an entire episode of like Gus just being like, I will find the giraffes myself? You know, like him experiencing all the human stuff, because I love Gus's role in this episode, and he showed so much maturity well beyond his years to give Hunter the space that he needs to process everything. Because you know, if you put together all the puzzle pieces from his episode that he get Adrian's like little magnifying glass, when he used it on Belos, he saw Hunter's entire history. He knows he's a Grimwalker, he knows he's a clone, but he's so subtle about it. Like when he first gives Cosmic Frontier to Hunter, Gus emphasizes the word clone, but he doesn't like linger on it. He's like, yeah, there's this tech guy who's a clone, and then he just keeps talking. And so it's very clear that Gus knows, but he's also giving Hunter the respect and the autonomy in the space to come out on his own. And that is just like, not even from like a Grimwalker's point of view, that's a good thing to do with like if you want to be an ally to like a queer person. Like if you're like, I'm pretty sure my friend is gay or queer or something like that, you know, you can kind of be like, you can hint, but never out somebody. Like that is very dangerous for people. Like that can get people really hurt in bad situations. And it also takes away their decision. You take away their decision to like come out. And so like this is almost like a coded story of like, I'm not saying in any way saying that Hunter's gay because he's desperately in love with Willow, but I mean, it could be bi, I don't know, or pan or Amity, but it is his choice to come out as a Grimwalker. And it's still sad because like the circumstances get tossed out the window because he's dying, and that's an extreme circumstance that is sad. Like, you know, like I think if it was not Hunter dying, like, you know, Gus would give him all the time in the world and stuff like that. And even then it's Luce that says it. But like that's how you be an ally. Like that's how you can be still supportive and like hint, but like Gus never says it, even though he's fully aware and knows it. And that's just so good on him. And I just love watching them nerd out together, just being like human stuff and also space.
And that's the value of having those like supportive people, because, and again, extreme circumstances, but like both Luce's thing and Hunter's thing that were kept from the whole episode were like exposed at the end of the episode. And we don't know how the Hunter stuff will go going forward. We obviously saw the Luce aftermath, but in the sense that like, even though they all know that now, and we don't know how they'll deal with it, he still has those support systems, those people in his life that even if now that they know that, they're not going to like be like super weird about it. They're going to support him and work through it with him. And like what I'm trying to ultimately say is like Gus and Hunter, like that kind of dynamic you talked about, like it really shows that like whether they knew or they didn't know, he was ultimately going to be there to support him no matter like when he said it or if he said it at all. Like, and I really appreciated like, and him just like asking like those just like the hard questions to ask, like, do you miss your past life? Like, do you miss that? And that's like, because that's a hard
I love
question
that
to
scene.
ask. And
that's a good scene.
The fact that like he's able to like again like work through that process with Hunter, because it's like Hunter keeps trying to be like, I'm happy now, but I want to go back. And so like Gus is like, do you miss that? Do you miss that life that you left? And then he obviously also with the thing where he's like, I miss knowing who I was supposed to be. And then Gus is part of that journey of helping show him that he can discover that without going back, without the need to like go back to this life he knew with Belos and everything. And I really liked, I just love Gus. Like, again, like you said, it's kind of sad that Gus couldn't have like more of his own thing, but like getting to see him help Hunter was so valuable. And we still got like some of his own thing. Like I ultimately every little moment of Gus like loving the human realm, I loved it. It was great.
Oh man, I yeah. Though as you're talking, I realized something like everything that Hunter nerded out over is a connection to another person. You know, the reason he loves sewing is because of Darius. The reason he loves Cosmic Frontier is it's a connection to Gus. The reason he loves Grudge Bee because it's a connection to Willow. Like everything that he loves is a connection to another person, except for the Golden Guard, because the Golden Guard was isolation. It was being manipulated. It was pain because he couldn't be around people. But when he knew who he was, it was also the loneliest time for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Flapjack died.
Stop. No, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about Flapjack.
No, don't even make a joke. Oh my god.
It was his death day. We were getting ready to open the portal door. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get you copyright struck from your YouTube. I'm sorry.
My god, yeah, no, I'm gonna get like freaking. Oh my god, no, my first copyright strike. No, I'm fine.
Zombie.
Yeah, no, Flapjack, R.I.P. Flapjack, and like that was.
He fulfilled his purpose in the story, though. Like he was Hunter's first. No, I mean that in the nicest way possible. I really do. Like he was Hunter's first friend. He was the one who helped Hunter leave his Rapunzel tower of Belos and go out, and like he guided him to like being like, hey, go talk to those kids over there, they want to play a sport with you, go do a sport. And like he's the one who like was a connection to Luz. Actually, you know, talking about how everything in Hunter's interest connects to people, Flapjack was originally connected with Luz, and like, you know, they met because of Flapjack. In all the Palismen. And so like he's the one that helped guide Hunter to like meeting Gus and Willow, and he was the one that like got him out into the world essentially. And kind of like how he guided Caleb to Evelyn. And so I will say, I have to wonder, and I'm going to cry if I find the answer, how many times has Flapjack tried that with other Grimwalkers? And has Flapjack been repeatedly hurt over and over again because of it? He's like, I just want Caleb. But like he fulfilled his narrative purpose. He was Hunter's first friend, and he helped him move out, and so he completed his role in the story. Like he became the main Palisman. Like with so little Albert and like pretty much no Bat Queen and like forever, like the main Palisman was Flapjack. And he took up the much, because like if Ghost died, I'd be like, oh no, the cat, I'm sad because I love cats, I always see my cat, I love cats, but it wouldn't have like the impact because Ghost hasn't been in the narrative as much. So he took like his death like felt like it was very justified because he essentially completed his role. And I hope Hunter gets to carve a Palisman and in honor of Flapjack. I could see him carving like not like a new Flapjack, but a new Palisman to honor Flapjack.
Yeah, no. I liked how in particular, like you were saying, like he is like that part of him that helped push him out, be willing to make connections, helped him meet Luz. But also now that like Flapjack's like literally part of him, like Flapjack, he got like the eye color and he just like became part of Hunter. Don't know to the full extent of what that will be. Like there have been people who are literally like, oh my god, does Hunter have magical powers now? That, like,
I'm in that realm. I'm in that realm. I'm wondering if Hunter has magic now. Like I really do. Like
but even just like beyond what he gave him, I think I still like to know that he's like a part of him. And like it really hits on that level where like literally when he walks like into the portal, he's like, time to go home, Flap, and then he just like walks in and I'm like, oh my god, he's like hugging himself. I'm like, dude, I feel that's painful.
I was just laughing because my first thought was, did he become Hunter's magical bile sac?
Oh my god. Wow. Okay. Yeah, but I really liked what you talked about with the Bella stuff. I also particularly like like how even though Flapjack is the part that healed him, it's like I'd like just like one of those last things he says before diving in the water, like I don't want you to hurt anyone again. Like I liked that in this episode. It wasn't just Hunter's fear, Hunter being afraid of Belos, but it was also like I want to make sure everyone's safe. Like he tells that to Luz, and like Luz is like same. Like, and then also in that scene with Luz, like there's so much in this episode where he gets to see, like, even with like Camilla being like, stop bowing down to me, but like him just getting to see he doesn't have to like serve others to get things and to receive care, and just to, like, see him crying in that scene when Luz is like, yeah, we need to protect you too, you matter to us, like, just to get him, like, get that validation that like people are out there and they care for him. And that kind of connects back to like Eclipse Lake, because that was like Hunter and Amity's parallel all throughout. Eclipse Lake was like, we don't need to give things to other people to like receive care. Like you'll find people like, I don't remember the exact quote Amity says, but it's like there are people who make you not feel worthless, and like you have to give everything to them for you to get love in return. Like there will be people out there, and he's been able to find those people that make him feel like he doesn't need to like serve them or owe them something to like get that care. And that's kind of like also ties into like that whole aspect of like dealing with the Grimwalker stuff or dealing with Luz's stuff, like the fact that again, Luz needs to be reminded of the lesson, just like Amity did. Like, these people care about you and they're going to be there for you. You don't need to be perfect for them. And I just love it so much.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
So good. Yes, but now we can talk about Amity. Yes. Clumsy Amity.
You should go first. You're gonna probably be a lot nicer to Amity than I am.
Oh no, that's
no. It's a shortened season thing. It really is. Like it's a criticism of the shortened season. So,
okay.
So you should go first. You're gonna be a lot nicer.
Oh, okay. I love Clumsy Amity. Clumsy Amity is best Amity, mostly because everyone calls this out. But like when they ask each other out, and Amity's like, "I'm not as cool as you think." Well, yes, Amity, we can see that you are not as cool as.
I like her little moment to it. She was like, "I used to be top student." That might be my favorite moment of her of the episode.
Like, literally, yes. But like just getting to see her more like I can be clumsy and fall over all the time. I can like run around and do fun things. Like getting just kind of similar to Hunter. Get her to see her do more fun things. See her smiling throughout the montage, doing all these cute little things. Like, it's so nice. Like it's kind of like a flop where like Luz has all this burden, but the like Amity's not with Adalia right now, so she can be a bit more free flowing. But at the same time, she cares a lot, like predominantly about like their situation and where they are, like what, not only in terms of them getting back, but it's like we can't expect Camilla to take care of us forever. So like she gets to be her like goofy fun child self, but she also takes on a lot of responsibility with making sure Luz is okay, making sure they're going to make progress with their missions and their goals, making sure Luz's mom is taken care of. And that it's so good, especially because I feel like she saw how much like work that like Luz did with her and her parents and like trying to help her out through that, so she wants to do the same in return, I feel like. And they all do, like when Amity's like, we can't expect Camilla to take care of us forever, and then everyone's like, I can do this, I can do that, we can all help Camilla more. And I like that like little scene where they're all like, here's all the things we can do to help Camilla. I like Amity was, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I just want to slide in on one thing that you said, because I never thought of it that way before. When you said that she is away from Odalia, you're right. This might be the first time we're seeing the real Amity, like completely free. I've never thought about it that way. That's a very valid point. That she's 100% who Amity is always wanting to be. And wow, that was a good point, Allie. I just wanted to say, like, I never thought about that before. You're very much right.
Yeah, and like even like with the clumsiness, like even not just like being a kid, but like getting to make mistakes or be more clumsy. Like Dahlia's not going to be like, you're ruining the Blight image, get out of my sight. Like,
it is so important to let people make mistakes.
Like literally, exactly.
Like, well, let me clarify. If they're making mistakes that are harming people, that's different. But like, exactly. I've been around people who came from like really mean abusive parents where like they've like accidentally bumped a glass and knocked it over and panicked, and it's not a malicious thing, it was an accident, and Like, it's so important to like let people like make mistakes and know that if it's not coming from a place of maliciousness, then it should not be punished.
Yes, I just love seeing Amity in that sense, and like also like you talked about how you wish, and we'll get to Willow in a second. Poor Willow. Um, but like even getting to see that scene with the scrapbook with her and Willow, where even if it's the smallest crumbs of it, where they're like, yeah, we didn't used to be friends, but like look at all this cool stuff we've done. It's so good. Like I wrote down the quote. It's like, or that Willow says, where it's like, it's nice to finally have time together, because like again, not even just not having Odalia, but not having like everything else that is involved in their lives on the Boiling Isles, like just getting that space to like solely focus on wacky summer adventures together as friends, like, and I think
And not have to save the world.
exactly. And another thing, like being separated from Odalia, I feel like they can like heal that relationship, the two of them, without Odalia being like, how dare you still be friends with Willow, you're evil. Sorry, I just, the Odalia hate is like, I'm heated right now.
I honestly, while we're here, I think it's gonna be. I'm of two camps on Odalia. One, I don't want her to ever be redeemed, because I do think that there has, like, I think it's okay for some characters to not be redeemed. I think that's perfectly okay, because not if every person is redeemed, then it gets cheesy. But I'm also on the other side of it being like Sasha in Turning Point, where we get to the place where she's starting to come around, but we as the audience never see it. So like that way, like Alador and and Edric and Amity, where the four of them are like, give it time, we'll see. If you put in the hard work and the effort, we'll see. Kind of like how she was in reaching out with her dad. Like that wasn't a fast turnaround. Like she still put up barriers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because even though Adalia knew about Belos's plan, I don't think any of them knew the full spectrum. Because Odalia says you're going to be a princess in a new world.
Yeah.
So it shows that she was still lied to. So I think there is going to be a moment, like they're either not going to redeem her at all, or she had an oh crap moment. I died and gave up my family for almost dying. And that's going to be two very different storylines. I want to see both. I don't know which one we're gonna get, because I like both of them for completely different reasons, and I'm here for whatever storyline they want to do with Odalia, because I could see her being like, oh crap, but I'm still evil, and also just totally not being redeemed. If we never see Odalia again, I think she had a good exit of her just being like, out family, I'm leaving. And I would love to, like, if we never saw Odalia again.
Well, like I
think that would be really powerful, actually.
And I think that's something that's good at, not every show has to do this, but I like that the show has like these characters who do have not necessarily redemption, like sometimes redemption, but like a lot of times like expanding them, having us understand their actions. But they also have like characters like Adalia and Belos, who they clearly are not directing toward a redemption path, at least at the moment. And with Adalia specifically, like it's like you can, and I think Alador is like that good in between, where it's like your parents can hurt you, but you can still set up boundaries and try to work towards it. But Odalia is like the opposite. Like not every parent is going to be understanding. Not every parent you're going to be able to repair your relationship with. I'm 100,000% fine if they never redeem Odalia or even touch her again. Like, because like you see the effect that she has on her family, and also to the point where like Amity doesn't even draw her. She draws her dad, her brother, and her sister. She does not draw Odalia. She's like, goodbye, you're out of my life. Like, I don't miss you.
She's kind of like, I could see them using her like little Gideon in Gravity Falls. Little Gideon's never fully redeemed.
Yeah.
He's not. Like, he realizes that he has that one moment where he realized he hurt Mabel, but he's never fully redeemed. He's just the lesser evil compared to Bill Cipher. And I can see that with Odalia. Like, they don't redeem her, but they'll work with her. You know, they're like, we will work with you.
Yeah.
Because that's the bigger evil that we have to deal with the collector. So I could see a situation like that too, especially Dana working on Gravity Falls and being so close to that material. So she chose her side.
Yeah. And she did choose her side. And I think that's like something to remember, where you can like be like, yeah, they were all lied to. Like even Tara was like, hello paradise, like they both received that lie. Like they also still both made a choice where they knew that there were people around them panicking and trying to tell them that there were risks. They still made that choice in the end. So
and the difference is we see Tara's reaction when Rain is like, there's no paradise, and Tara has just fear wash over her of just like, oh God, I made the wrong choice.
Yeah,
which I
exactly.
can, so don't be mad at me. And I'm going to preface this by saying it is a side effect of the shortened season.
Mhm.
Amity came off really oblivious this episode.
Mm.
But I mean that with two ways, especially when it comes to Luz. When it comes to Luz's struggle, she just seems really oblivious because Luz is not only repeating behaviors that's already been established in show, she's also doing the exact same thing and reaching out. And the thing with reaching out is Amity's on it like right away, like there is something wrong with Luz. She is acting weird. She is not telling me stuff. Why? And she just keeps going after Luz over and over and over again. Now, the thing about that is that it's important to know that Amity doesn't have all the information. She's going off an incorrect assumption, which is Luz is just really scared that we can't get back to Eden King and the portal door is closing. She doesn't have the full information of what everything that happened with Philip.
Yeah.
And so she's incorrectly assuming the problem, but we know that she's incredibly good perceptive and really good at being perceptive when it comes to Luz when Luz is hiding things, because they've established that multiple times in season 2 that she's really good at that. I feel like if we had a full season, we would have those moments of perception with Amity where she'd be like, what's wrong? And like Luz would tell her something and like Amity not being sure about it. And then like she would be like, she might let it go a little bit. And then like a few episodes later, she's like, are you sure? Like they would like go back and forth on that. But in this one, Amity is just like, Luz is sad over the portal doors. I'm gonna fix it with a plucky adventure. And I'm like, it's a side effect of the shortened season, but like she just came off really oblivious. And it did grind on me, but I understand the situation. And again, they did the best they could with it. But I just it did bother me this episode because like they did my girl slightly dirty and they did my other girl Willow really dirty. But again, Willow had nothing to work with.
Poor Willow. Yeah, Willow was the most tragic story out of all of them. Because I honestly, even in rewatching the episode today and trying to take notes, I'm like, outside of Huntlow, what can I really take notes on Willow?
There are times I forget she's there until she says stuff because she just has so little to work with outside of the Huntlow stuff. And don't get me wrong, I ship them. They're gonna have like a beautiful garden and 4 children and a pet and like white picket fence, and their little vines are gonna grow around the fence and eat intruders. Like it's gonna be great. Like he's gonna be like a great dad while like she's off doing the work because he's gonna be the stay-at-home dad. Like it's gonna be awesome. She's gonna absolutely be the breadwinner in that. When she's off, I've thought about this way too much, but like Willow had outside of the Huntlow stuff, like, and even then it's mostly like one-liners. We don't see those moments with Hunter, like with her, like, and again, I feel like if we had a longer season, we would have those moments like where like Willow would be sitting with Hunter just being like, are you okay? Like a lot like it's not Wing It Like Witches. What's the name of the other sports episode?
Any Sport in a Storm,
that one, thank you. Like she has those moments of like holding Hunter accountable and like talking with them and like them having those connections. And so if like this was a longer season, I could see an entire episode just to Willow and Hunter of them like working through these things and like, like, why were you cutting your hair so suddenly? You want to talk about that? Like, because she's not one just to be like, la-di-da, let it go. No, she holds Hunter accountable, like in Any Sport in the Storm, when he's just like, I can't work with these people. She gets up in his face and is like, you don't even know these people. How dare you? Like, she would do that. And so like she's the biggest side effect of the episode of the shortened season, because we had so much of nothing with Willow other than the occasional one-liner that was funny and flirting. She was just like, I'm here
or even
too.
like the small thing where she was like the only one who called for Hunter when they were all looking for Luz. I was like, that everyone clings to that one thing. It's like, oh my god, she just wanted Hunter and everyone else wanted Luz. Like that was cute. But I agree.
Poor Willow, she totally got shafted in this one.
Yeah, and I, like you said earlier, I think like they could have done stuff with that with like her and Amity, and like even with Amity and Luz, like all those like little things. I think they were like again, because he was like, need to get back to the Isles, also need to like deal with all this Hunter and Luz stuff. Like you said, like they had time constraints with what they could do in the episode, but like just to think about those especially those two kinds of relationships that could help out with like Amity and Willow in this episode, like it's unfortunate that the season got cut down because there were ways that could have like been further explored, but
that scrapbook pulled so much weight.
Exactly. Yeah.
That scrapbook has so much weight to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then that was the sad thing. Like I talked about that scene. Like I'm like, they're like, look at all these memories we had together. Like we've been able to repair our friendship, and I'm sitting here like,
it'd be great if we
so we had to see it like this.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them watch Hocus Pocus for the first time and judge it harshly.
Yes. Yeah. So the first point I wanted to make about V is I thought it was so cool how with V was able to face her fears while also establishing when she wasn't ready to face her fears, which I think is like a really important thing where like you can face your fears and work super hard, but like there are times when you need to step back. And like particularly with V, like the fears were like, I'm gonna bust in and potentially face Jacob, or I'm even like one which is not as obvious is the fact that in the fight against Belos, she's using like the magic sucking, which is something she's like been very vocal that she like that's tied to her like trauma and her pain and is hard for her to deal with, but she actively uses it to help her like friends in that scene and like face that fear of and also just like take those fears and use them to help her friends, I think is like really powerful. But then again, she still has things she's not ready for, like she's not ready to go back to the Isles, and she's able to say that in that moment. But then again, she's like, I help her like Luce. Like kind of, I know we don't want to like call her doppelganger Luce anymore, but like even though I'm not going to the Isles, Camilla, I'm gonna step in for everyone's roles while they're gone and like take care of everything here. Like I love that for her, where she's like, I'm not ready, but I'm gonna help you out here, and that's very sweet. She's sweet. I'm gonna miss her a bit. Like I understand, again, like I said, I'm gonna understand why she stayed behind, but like I will miss her. She's great.
Yeah, why would she go to the Isles? It was never her home.
Yeah.
Like nobody asked to be born. Nobody asked to be born, but her circumstance was even horrific. Her species was extinct, and they brought her out of extinction to horrifically torture her. And all of her memories from the moment she was created on the Boiling Isles was pain.
Yeah.
And the first thing she does when she comes to the human realm is find love. Like, why would she want to fight for the Boiling Isles other than the fact that it's her friend's home, which is an important thing, but she can also support them by keeping her home intact, because her home is the human realm. That's the first place she found love. It's the first place she found acceptance. And I love that choice that she chose to stay behind. I'm gonna miss her too. I love her to death. I think she's a powerhouse, and I don't think she's ever gonna go back to the Boiling Isles, and I think that's fine for her. She's thriving in the human realm. She is thriving. She's the MVP, man. They're all like, "Where's Luz?" And she's like,
I can do it. Like, phone. I'm here alone.
Phone. I have a phone. Do none of you know how to use this? I do. Like she's the MVP of the episode. She comes in clutch multiple times.
Exactly. Yes.
And I love watching her in this episode and just living her best life. And I don't think she'll ever return to the Boiling Isles, and I think she's okay with that because that's not her home. And I see your note. Her and Masha. Yes.
Love it.
So yeah, I love that choice. I'm gonna miss her too, but I like the choice is even better and just stronger. So
okay, Belos.
Can I just say that I love Camilla's reaction to Belos? Like
yes,
like he like they fight him. He goes through the door. Everything's quiet, and Camilla just goes, "That's Belos." I love that reaction because they're like, "Yeah, he's an evil bad guy," but she sees him and it's just that's Belos.
Yeah.
Such a good delivery. I find him interesting in this one. I mean, I love Belos as a villain. He's one of my favorite villains, and I think he's a very good villain. I 100% thought that he would be gone by the end of this episode.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, and because I don't quite understand his reasoning in this episode. Well, let me get the good stuff. Like, I like his design. I love how he took over the animals. Like, all of that was creepy and cool, and I loved all that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't understand the story choice in this one. And I don't know if it's a shortened season thing or not. Because his entire thing was he wanted to kill the witches and get back to the human realm. To his knowledge, he killed the witches because he set off the day of unity and he got back to the human realm. He accomplished his goals. So I'm wondering if there is a storyline that got cut where he realized that Luce was right, that the world moved on without him, that they're cool with witches, they're like this, like, you know, like he sees Hocus Pocus and he's just like, what is this? Like, you know, he realizes that he can't function in this world anymore because he's the monster now and he's the monstrous one. So his only thing now is to go back to the demon realm to find a purpose and make sure the witches are dead. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a story that got cut that's missing here because he accomplished all his goals to his knowledge. He set off
it's also because he not only wanted to like kill the witches, but like you were saying, he wanted to be like revered as like the witch hunter general, like super cool dude. So like in the sense of what you were saying, like if we had a longer season, to be seen in the human realm as like, no, I'm the monster, things have changed, witches are like, that's again, like you said, that's kind of like the storyline that is missing. That could at least make that part of it more understandable about like why he doesn't want to stay as much. But like the whole thing about going back is still yet to be seen. Like I don't
the only thing I can think of is maybe he wants to go back to see if he can somehow become human again. Like maybe if he can like bargain with the collector, who's probably just gonna be like, no, I'm gonna throw you in a wall again. But, you know, like that's the only thing I can think of, because I can't think of any reason why he would want to go back to the demon realm, because he got everything he wanted to his knowledge.
In that sense of like, I'm the monster here now, maybe, and I have no idea how this would fit into the future, but like it's maybe like when I was here, at least I was able to manipulate people easier. I was able to like retain my form, live all those years, accomplish goals. Like maybe kind of similar to like Luce seeing like my safe space versus my safe space. He's like, maybe this is more my safe space, even though the collector's there, which that doesn't make it a safe space. But like kind of in the sense it's like he felt he maybe had more control when he was at the demon realm in a way.
And there's also like the kind of extra part of it that like maybe he needs the magic now, like he's so monstrous, and we know like with Luce, like magic doesn't work without Titan's blood. And so like maybe that's why he had to steal life, because that was the only way he could survive. So there could be a fear response there of just like, I have to go back or I will die. There could be a narcissist response back of like, I need to go and see my beautiful work of all the witch corpses. I'm going to build a palace of witch corpses or whatever.
My God.
Or it could just be like, he could be a narcissist, he could be fearful, or he could just, as you said, like, I don't have control here, so I have control. I mean, there's so many different ways, but like that was the one thing that's, other than that, I loved it. Like, I love Belos. He's great. Hunter as Belos is a great design. Like when the antlers come out in the shadows, like I love the design. Like I loved everything about it, except like other than the one looming question I had. So
and including it made that fight choreography fun too, with the way
it's so good. Oh, that fight was great. So
good. I love it. Yes, very good. And just like the oh my gosh, the voice mixing too with like Hunter. Oh my God, like because like even to hear like Hunter saying those things, I'm like, oh boy.
You know, Robinson, man, he's so good.
Oh, it's very good. It's very, yes, I love it all. So he's stuck in this like mindset where he's just like, everyone else is stabbing me in the back and I keep being led down these wrong paths and I'm not getting what I want, even though instead of like stepping back, he's stabbing people in the back and doing things. He's like, you stabbed me in the back, and he's like, Luz like, you did that to him first. Like she calls him out on it, where it's like,
oh, I was like, baby girl,
dude, and your struggle to like yeah, you might be struggling, but you're like you're killing everyone to like cope with that. You're not like you had every chance to like use your support systems or like have a conversation with your brother, but you didn't do that. Well, even if you did, like I don't, we haven't seen the backstory, but like you took the path of violence. You stabbed everyone in the back instead of like taking other paths or other opportunities, or recognizing that things change, or even like I don't even know, but like he just gets so caught up in this whole like, I not only can I seek more control by doing this, but I can also, I just feel validated in saying it's everyone else's fault that I'm here and that this is how it is. It's like it's not my fault. It's everyone else's. And I feel like he'd still go back, like kind of in like that conversation with the collector, be like, "Oh, it's your fault I'm like this," or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you didn't teach me
this
good
man,
enough magic to help me retain a human form. Like I don't know.
this man will actively try to gaslight a child god from the stars if he gets the chance to. He will try to gaslight the collector. You know he will. And the collector's gonna just throw him into the sun. Bye bye, Belos. Like, it's just not gonna work.
Exactly. His manipulation and stuff isn't working out for him, which is like, it's nice to see, like, take that, Belos, for once. Like, Hunter's able to stand against you and say, no, you're not gonna like manipulate. And like even gets said in like even King's Time when he's like, Hunter, why are you like hurting me? I only want to help you. And Hunter's like, no, man.
Yeah,
no,
oh god, I love that. That was probably like my favorite villain moment from him.
Yeah.
That just showed the monster he was. And
yeah. Yeah.
I love that moment. I think Belos is a great villain. I love his writing. So
yeah. Any other thoughts about the episode?
Think I didn't want to ask. What do you think Lucy's talisman's gonna be?
Snake.
I
am on Team Snake.
I'm on Team Snake
After
too.
this episode, I am on Team Snake.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else. I think we've covered it pretty darn good. I see your last question there, and I don't have an answer for it.
Well, like that's why I didn't like write anything there, because like you like, and we kind of try to do that with like Belos. I feel like in a way it's like where it's like you could like take bits and pieces of this episode and try to understand where they're gonna go, but like at the same time it's not gonna be like any solid
yeah
be like,
just so everybody knows,
so maybe she could be like this in the future, but it's not like a solid prediction. Like I don't know.
just so everybody knows, because they can't see the outline. The question is, any predictions for the rest of season 3? Yeah, it's so hard just not knowing what the collector did. The collector is really the wild card in this, and
well, and King in a way, because King technically made the game, like, so
yeah, just the collector is just such a big wild card. Like, we could come back, like I said, that we could come back and like everything's fine. We could come back and it's like slightly crazy, or we could come back and they're in like Universal Studios. We don't know.
Like he says that to Camilla, she's like, I don't know what's gonna be on the other side of this.
Yeah,
like, no idea.
the thing that I find that I'm kind of teetering on the edge of is how much are they gonna follow the Amphibia path? Because I could see them come back, just like in Return to Amphibia, I think is the name of that episode.
Yes.
And Amphibia has been enslaved, like it's still there, but it's enslaved. Or it could be fine. I don't know. Like I don't think it's gonna be fine, because that would make for boring TV. But the other part that I don't think that they'll I think they will follow Amphibia on that route. Like, they're gonna come back, the world's gonna be different, everyone's gonna be in a bad place. But I do think the change that they will make from Amphibia is giving Luce the ability to go between the realms at the end of the show. Because I cannot see a world.
Can't do that again. I can't do it 2 times.
I cannot see. I cannot see a world where they go out of their way to write such good queer storytelling to separate Lumity forever. Like, I cannot see that situation.
I just can't even, regardless, do a separation after Amphibia. Are you kidding me? I can't do that twice in like 2 years. I can't.
Yeah, less than 2. Dude, it just came out. That's gonna be like a year. It just came out like 9 months ago.
Literally, like, give me like, at least a year.
Yeah, right. Let me process my trauma. But
no, and that's also like not even just like the Lumity stuff, but like even just like this, all of these things we talk about, like the meshing of like how, like what is the safe space, how are we going to conform, what are we going to work through, what does this world mean to us versus this world, and like by having both be available, there isn't like this burden to be like, this world has treated me best, so I'm going to stay there. Like, no, like, you can stay in both, because you've made mistakes in both, but you've also done great stuff in both, and So you have the opportunity to like go to both. I don't know. Like,
I do wonder because I'm gonna pose this question
okay.
but the important thing is knowing Bello lies. He's a liar.
Yeah.
When he originally shows the Coven Heads the version of his perfect utopia future, we see the skull of the Titan in suburban loose. I was about to say loose land.
Loose land.
in the human realm. We see it in the human realm.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, how much of that, because we know he got his power from the Collector.
Yeah.
And so how much was that him lying to the Coven Heads? Or how much is that a possibility that the Collector showed him? Because the Collector is an all-powerful god.
Yeah.
The Collector has the ability to do that stuff. And it does. The other thing I just remembered I wanted to say is there's a line between Gus and Hunter when they're first talking about the Star Trek book. And Hunter goes, "Why would humans want to go out to the stars?" And Gus says, "I don't know, because they want to spread their junk over everything." That came out, I don't know. But the Collector has that ability. I would have to assume that maybe that if the Collector hears that, humans have seen the stars, I could see a situation where he's like, "Well, I'm from the stars. Luz, your world has the ability to go to the stars. I can go home. Let me smash the worlds together."
Oh my god.
Like I could, but that's the thing. Like the Collector is such a wild card. Like we just don't know.
Yeah.
But so how much was that scene that he showed the Coven Heads from the Collector, and how much was that Belos lying? There's so much that could happen.
Who really knows?
When you have a character that can do infinity, and I mean like the Infinity Die from Gravity Falls, when it can do literally anything could happen.
Exactly.
My only real prediction of the rest of the season is I think they'll make a way for Luz to go between the worlds.
Yeah, I'm excited to see whatever it is. I can't believe we're gonna be 2/3 done at the end of January. Oh no. Yeah.
Only have one episode left, dude. One episode left. Wait.
I'm crying a lot.
Me too.
Internally.
It'll be okay.
Externally, but internally.
I'll be fine. We'll survive and find a new show to obsess over. I'm honestly very behind on Molly McGee, but I hear it's wonderful.
Oh, it's great. I love it. It's
yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It's sweet and pure. It's good because like a lot of this other shows I've been obsessed with lately have been like trauma, and I'm like, I don't need trauma today.
Speaking of sweet and pure, ask me what TV show I just started watching by myself, and I should preface, I don't have children. Bluey.
Oh my god.
It's so pure and wholesome, and I'm just like, yeah, I can put this on in the background and everything's fine. And my best friend who does have a toddler is like, Hope. We watch it because we have a toddler. And I'm like, yes, but have you ever watched it without your daughter there? And she's like, shut up. I have. It's so good. If you want to survive a wholesome your OwlHouse trauma and just need something wholesome, we'll go watch Bluey.
Survive all my trauma lately. Yay, love it. Yep. All right, so as always, Hope, where can people find you and what you do?
Oh, I'm kind of everywhere. I am a staff writer for the Geeky Waffle. That's where I wrote all my OwlHouse reviews. And I'm a contributor for Dark Side of the Force. That's where I read about Star Wars. And I also have a podcast called J Guys and Jedi, which is a Star Wars podcast. And I also have a new project called For Light and Dice. It is a Star Wars tabletop podcast where we roll die. And the big thing I would love to share with you guys is our entire cast is all queer people. Yeah, it's a really fun project. I'm super proud of it. So if you want to hear us go on a crazy adventure in a Star Wars universe while we roll die like they do in Critical Role, but we're all gay. And oh boy, we are proving the stereotype that gays don't know how to do math because don't know how to do math. Go listen to For Light and Dice. I'm really proud of the project. So it's going really well, and I'm super proud to be part of it. So hey, Allie.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Well, lately I've been kind of all over the place because life just likes to keep slapping me in the face with pain, but you know what? We're living. When I do crawl out of my cave, I'm still on the internet, sometimes like Hive and Twitter and stuff. Just Allie Andrews, and
I'm still trying to figure
so
out
we're plugging
Hive.
the Twitter now because of Elon, but like I'm still there. I'm still present. Allie_M_Andrews. I also have a Star Wars podcast called Knights of Ren, which will be back soon, hopefully. I this is the one thing I can rely on right now is these TheOwlHouse videos. That's the one thing I can have assurance that will be continuously coming out. Everything else in my life is an unknown right now, but I am slowly getting back into art and other things. I'm just going through some stuff personally in my life right now, so I'm slowly getting back into all my artistic things. So I have a link tree. It'll be in the description along with hopes of this YouTube video, and that's pretty much where you can find all of our stuff. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye. I hope the collector doesn't blow up the world by the end.
Yeah, no, the house can blow up and everything blows up and no more
Good luck,
blowing up,
everybody.
no more.
Bye.